We spend so much time picking just the right words. But what if the real secret to communication isn't just in what we say? Turns out, how we say something, the music of our voice, the rhythm and the pitch, that can change absolutely everything. Today, we're going to tune in to that hidden music and see how it works.
So, to really get a feel for this, let's start with a little puzzle. How is it possible for one single sentence to have 7 completely different meanings without changing a single word? It sounds kind of like a magic trick, but it's a power you use every single day. Let's break it down.
Okay, listen to the sentence. I thought your brother was a bus conductor. Simple enough, right? But what if I say it like this? I thought your brother was a bus conductor. Suddenly, by stressing I, the meaning is all about me. I was the one who thought this. Maybe nobody else did. Now listen to this version. I thought your brother was a bus conductor. See how that changes things? By hitting the word thought, it implies that I was wrong. I used to think that, but clearly I've just been told something new.
Okay, what about this one? I thought your brother was a bus conductor. Putting the emphasis on your makes it super specific. I'm not talking about my brother or some random person's brother. I'm talking about yours.
Let's shift it one more time. I thought your brother was a bus conductor. Now, the stress on brother means I had the wrong person in the family. Maybe I thought it was him, but it was actually your sister or your cousin.
This one is subtle, so listen close. I thought your brother was a bus conductor. Hitting that little word was implies that he isn't one anymore, and I'm kind of surprised to hear it. The past tense just became the most important piece of information.
We're getting close. Now, I thought your brother was a bus conductor. The stress here on bus clears up any confusion about what kind of conductor we're talking about. Not an orchestra conductor, a bus conductor.
And finally, number 7. I thought your brother was a bus conductor. This last one clarifies his exact job on that bus. He wasn't the driver, no. I thought he was the conductor. So there you have it. 7 meanings, same words. Pretty cool, huh?
So what is this sorcery? What's the secret? Well, it's not magic at all. It's actually a concept we're all super familiar with, even if we don't realize it. It's rhythm. It's the beat behind the words.
And I love this. The word rhythm comes from an old Greek root that means to flow. And that's exactly what it is. It's the pattern of stressed and unstressed sounds that gives our speech this natural, living current.
And rhythm isn't just for talking. Think about it. In speech, the basic unit is the syllable. In music, it's the note. And in dance, it's the step. It's all the same idea, just creating a pattern that has meaning over time. So what happens when you strip that pattern away, when you take away that flow? Well, the language just falls flat. It loses its energy, its life, and it just sounds wrong, totally unnatural.
Exactly. It sounds monotonous, like machine-generated speech. Like those old robotic GPS voices. The reason they sound so weird and artificial is because they have zero human rhythm. They've got the words, but they've got none of the music.
Okay, so if rhythm is the beat, every good song also needs a melody, right? Well, in speech, our melody is something called pitch, and pitch is how we paint our words with emotion.
Pitch is really just the highness and lowness of our voice. It's physically all about how fast our vocal cords are vibrating, but what it does is add all the emotional color to what we're saying. And this is really intuitive, right? A higher pitch usually signals really strong emotions like joy, excitement, or even anger. And a lower pitch, that often carries feelings like sadness or shock. Our voice just naturally does this to show how we really feel.
A perfect example is the simple phrase, "thank you." If you say it with a warm, rising pitch, it sounds totally sincere. But if you say it with a low, flat pitch, it can sound sarcastic or like you don't care at all. The words don't change, but the melody, the pitch, tells the whole story.
And look, this whole idea of vocal music isn't new. In fact, some of the greatest writers and thinkers have known for centuries that the music of words is just as critical as their definitions.
Virginia Woolf put it so perfectly. She said, "Style is a very simple matter. It is all rhythm." To her, if you could just find the right flow for a sentence, the perfect words would kind of just fall right into place.
But here's a really fascinating twist. The linguist David Crystal reminds us that this rhythm isn't the same everywhere. Every language has its own unique beat, its own musical DNA that makes it sound the way it does.
You can actually group these into different types. So English is what's called a stress-timed language. It has that classic tum-to-tum feel. But a language like French is syllable-timed, which gives it that quick rat-a-tat-a-tat sound. Understanding this is a total game changer if you're learning a new language. You're not just learning words, you're learning its music.
All right, this stuff is all super interesting, but the best part is that you can actually use this to become a way more powerful communicator. It's really about learning to listen and then learning to be the conductor of your own voice. Here's a super simple 3-step plan. First, just start to listen. Really pay attention to the rhythm when people talk. Where do they put the stress? Second, notice the emotion. How does their pitch go up when they're excited and down when they're serious? And finally, practice. Take any sentence and play with it, just like we did at the very beginning. You'll be blown away by how much control you actually have.
So in the end, it really all comes down to this. The words you pick are the lyrics, but the rhythm and the pitch, that's the music. And so often, it's the music that tells the true story. So the next time you speak, just ask yourself this. Your words are saying one thing, but what is your music saying?